Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Very good morning. It's freezing outside.
8 a.m. Sunday morning. Came for good conversation and good background. So.
2 people and 2 degrees outside. See?
Oh my gosh. This is my first winter. Like properly. So I was here last winter.
Yeah.
But I left for like a month and a half, 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like right December through January. And I don't remember it ever getting this cold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's only December. It gets worse.
Oh, don't say that to me. It's not something I want to hear. You've been here for a while, right?
Yeah. I've been here about like 4 years. And I've been inside, outside. I felt a lot of freezing weather before. And you don't get used to it. People think you get used to it. You just know how to move better.
Blood is supposed to thicken. That's what I heard. Allegedly.
You'd never get used to it season by season. You just know what to expect. Yeah, you just know what to do. Like your body isn't used to it until it gets in it, but your mind knows what to do.
I'm hoping it kicks in pretty soon for me because I'm ready to feel warmer than I do right now. Since we're on that topic, tell me about how you moved here. What was that like?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the Jordan story of moving to Chicago.
Actually, I didn't know Chicago was going to be the place I wanted to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, not at all. I was going to pick a big city.
Okay.
I didn't know what big city I was going to pick. I was like, I want to move out of my hometown. That whole story,
What's your
that
hometown?
narrative, Champaign.
Okay.
The whole story narrative of moving out of your hometown,
Yeah.
I still stand behind it. It's so important. And I had no resources to like move or really figure out a place to go. I didn't know anybody in other cities naturally. I reached out to a few people, but nobody that knew a city enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they couldn't tell you like, this is a city you need to go to because of like concrete reasons,
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z for Jordan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was always just like, oh, it's cool. And then I asked for the questions and I was like, okay, this person just moved to the city because they had to or anything.
Right. But
Minimal
you had the
intentions.
option
Yeah.
to move.
Exactly. So then I chose Chicago naturally because one person said the diversity out here, because that's something I desired.
100%.
Diversity in lifestyle, diversity in people, diversity in opportunities.
Yeah.
And somebody I trusted, he was like, I think 6 years older than me, so he's been through a lot. And I liked how he had motion in the city. He told me, I still never forget this, and I guess maybe that's one of the things that influenced me, but he said he moved every single year to a different neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you done kind of the same?
Not even kind of, exactly the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I moved,
Wow.
I think I just hit my 4th move.
Okay.
So I move every single year to a new neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Technically I'm double dipping now because I'm going back to a location. And now, like I moved to Chicago, I moved by myself, lived by myself. I didn't have really anybody in the city that I knew.
Yeah.
Which is important because a lot of people feel like it's so scary to move to a city by yourself.
Yeah.
And it is, but it's
is.
only scary because you don't know the next steps. I remember Googling, how do I get groceries?
No way.
Yeah, this is before TikTok was like really big and you can just like ask TikTok and TikTok can let you.
I'm just kidding.
Aging?
Aging yourself? No.
I'm not unk yet. Still Gen Z in here, right? The biggest thing I had to worry about, or my biggest worry was, how do I get groceries?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Life hits you pretty hard. I don't think that's a conversation that's like talked about enough, but I feel like in college, we're always like, okay, we need to, get good grades, get the degree, get the job, have the social life. And there's a lot of like life skills that aren't taught. For example, like how do you actually make friends post-grad?
Yeah.
How do you find like what would be your college org in communities afterwards when you're just living in the city by yourself and you're trying to find like, who do I resonate with? Who are my people? And I feel like that was something I also hit too, where I had an option similar to you. I moved for a full-time job.
Okay.
And I work in strategy consulting, but they have different locations obviously.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, you can pretty much choose any location you want. As long as we have a hub there, you're free to choose it. So I was like, okay, the world is my oyster. Like, where do I want to go? I was in Austin. I knew I wanted to get out of Texas just to like you said, try something new.
So you were in Austin?
I was in Austin
Okay.
for college. But I'm very similar to that where I haven't moved every year, but I like, once I hit kind of a capacity on a city, I like to explore something else or a different part of the city.
Right.
So I was like, I want to go to a big city. I knew that, the opportunities, the people, and I was between West Coast, Chicago, and New York. And ultimately, like you said, Chicago felt like it had this aura of people who were open to different perspectives, willing to collaborate and talk to you, felt like something I could start something in and really find a home in. And I moved knowing pretty much nobody. I knew a couple people from my internship that I had done the previous summer, a couple people I met through dance, but otherwise it was just like, you get here and you have to hit the ground running. Like, who am I spending my weekends with? What am I doing with my time here? And there's like so much that opens up.
Yeah, and I actually can't wait to talk about how that looks like for you.
Yeah.
Because like that sentence right there is, who do I spend my time with and how do I spend my weekends?
Yeah.
In my downtime or just exploration time. So many people have different answers, but there's so much you have to do, but it's simple, but you have to put a lot of effort into it.
100%.
Yeah, so I can't, that's gonna be a fun story.
I know. Where should we start with communities then? So maybe in the sense of like communities, you came here, Jordan, fresh into the city, you knew that you wanted diverse perspectives, you knew that you wanted to explore different neighborhoods. How did like finding and growing community look like for you?
Finding community was easier looking back, but harder looking forward. I was complaining to a few of my few people that I was like, I can't find people that I resonate with, people that look like me, people that act like me. And then at that point in time, I was like, the dating scene. I was like, I don't know how this looks. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
All that. And actually,
just like to people in bars.
Yeah, like honestly, that was the opposite. No one was going up to anybody.
Yeah.
There was nobody going up to anybody. Like, and then moving to a city, I knew competition of whatever you're doing is going to be heightened. So, say in the dating scene, like not necessarily competition in a negative sense, but like you're going to put more effort into whatever you do.
Sure, yeah.
First thing I did was I asked a woman that was like between the ages of 30 and 35 how the dating scene is. Yeah.
Okay, and what'd you say?
Because you got to target somebody that is like been in the dating scene, but that's not too old to where they're like checked out.
Yeah, fair.
She gave plenty of great advice, but basically she would just like be upfront and honest. And a lot of people are just open to whatever you have to do or whatever your interests are. You just have to be upfront and honest because like there's somebody for everybody in the city. People are actually more open to things than you think.
Yeah.
And if they're not, there's somebody out there that is.
I think that somebody out there is really important too, because that's kind of like how I approach finding community in general. This was actually something that came up really recently. There was like one comment I got on one post on social media. You know how it is, where you're like, it kind of negates all of the positive comments that you've been getting when you're like growing a community. And to me, like listening to my community is so important. So I'm in the comments, like I want to know how people are reacting to things. I want to know what they want to hear from me. But then you get that one comment and like it feels like your world is shattering and the year of building goes away. What someone told me or what I heard at a podcast was basically the more you are able to like sift out who your community is for and who it's clearly not for, the closer you're getting to like finding your people and finding your niche.
Yeah.
So it might not even be like a bad thing, and kind of like you said, being direct helps you just like narrow down on who are you actually building for, who are you connecting with, and like who are your people at the end of the day.
Exactly. And it's just like you gotta dive in deep and just like go figure it out. Like you can get a lot of tips and tricks, use that to speed run it, but you have to just get in. Yeah. 100%. Like I said, if you go to a place that's diverse, like you were saying, with your 3 different locations, you have a higher likelihood of finding people that you resonate with, because a lot of people are also open too. But Chicago kind of gets a bad taste on this. A lot of people come here and there's a lot of cliques and groups that are in the city of Chicago. So a lot of people are like, I don't know how to make friends in the city. Like I still see it on TikTok. Like I remember talking about this 3 years ago. People say that like, I don't know how to make friends in the city. I try to put myself out there. I have seen that. And it's a responsibility on both parties, like many different areas, but like each city does act differently. I've noticed that significantly. The motion in each city is very different. You have to learn the particular motion of like each city and the reasons why it moves the way it does.
Oh, 100%. I think when I was coming into Chicago, my approach to finding friends was very similar to my approach to finding communities and just like places that I wanted to spend my time, because to me, those two things live in conjunction, where I want to become friends with the people I want to grow with, and I want to grow with my communities, and I want to grow with, people that have similar visions, or we can have, intellectual discussions with each other. And so what I did is I kind of broke up my life into what are all of the passions or hobbies that I'm prioritizing in like this season of my life. And I feel like as the years go by, maybe I change locations within the city, and those priorities can naturally change. But coming in for me, it was like, I know I'm gonna dance. That's always going to be a thing. So I really want to find a strong dance community in different flavors, like one for the South Asian side of me and one for like my professional training side.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to have somewhat of a like content creation / community building community. A lot of those people, I just went to events. Jordan, when I tell you I signed up, like the first 6 months, I was like, you're hosting an event? I'm there.
Yeah.
And I just went and I explored, and not all of them are gonna be for you, but really quickly you could see like, I'm vibing with this type of event. And then started to find really good friends at those events because we just like to spend our time the same way. And so that was number 2. And then obviously professionally for me at work, found friends there. So
oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was great. We're a pretty tight cohort.
Yeah.
I like to say there is like friends of convenience and friends of choice.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes people are like, oh, you're just working with them because it's convenient. But truly, like, I think you can choose how you want to spend your time.
Yeah.
And if I'm choosing to spend my time with these people outside of work, then I'm like, you're becoming a friend of choice.
So you did find friends through work?
I did. I found my boyfriend through work.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Oh, so okay, that's actually good. That's good. Okay. It's not uncommon. A lot of people have found their partners through work, but that's
You
that's
had a story you were gonna say.
Yeah, that story's a little bit better. Well, that's interesting because I have the opposite. I didn't really have any friends at work.
Okay.
And that's just luck of the draw or lack of. But yeah, I didn't really connect with a lot of people at my job, and that's okay. But that came from, so I played college football and over 100 different teammates. It didn't matter, like some people you enjoy, some people you don't as much.
100%.
And that's always with any type of like large team or organization.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a person or that same connection level at my job, corporate job. That was so draining because like I would say the friends that I had at my job came in the form of an AirPod in my ear. That's what it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't naturally. I had some people I connected with a little bit.
Some jobs as well, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I had some people I connected with a little bit. Like at work, I didn't really connect with, and it just didn't vibe with me. But that's again how I got on my hunt of just like you said.
I was just gonna say, how did you find it then in Chicago?
You got to hunt around to events.
100%.
When I was trying to make these friends, there weren't any events that I knew quite of. Like there were some events, but a lot of events are gate kept. Like to be honest, like so a lot of people in Chicago don't always.
Agreed.
They are. See, yeah.
Different people just figure out where events were.
Right. Yeah, like you always have to go, and it still is that way. Like where. And I get, like, I know all types of events. Like there's public events, private events, semi-private, semi-public,
100%.
Everything under the sun. But you would think majority events in Chicago are private. Just because, like, it's always invitations from friends and, like...
It is.
And
or it's like a post on a story, and I'm like, I don't even follow the account.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to, like, see the story?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you're going to throw something, and that's where, I guess that's where the later success came from.
Yeah.
Yell it out. Sell everybody. And like just say as much as possible as you can about the event.
Yeah.
Give the details and all the information. There's a concept, and I guess I'll teach you right now. You're gonna see this because you're gonna be like, oh my God, I know who that person is. So there's somebody that always connects you to many people. Mm-hmm. These are considered
know.
exactly.
I'm like I can.
You're like
I know who you're talking about.
These are considered like I call them like paper clips.
Yeah.
People are kind of like paper clips that link others to other people.
Okay.
So once you get into one person that's like very social and has a lot of other people, they kind of validate you as they should because they're like, oh, who's this person? What are they interested in? And if they see like a connection to like their whole group, then they'll introduce you to the whole group.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you made 1 or 2 friends, and then you become like meet about like 10 to 15. And you're like, whoa.
100%.
And then you go out, and then some people are like, oh my God, how'd you get so many friends? You're like, well, you meet one paperclip or one key person, and then it connects you with a lot.
They're connecting you to everybody.
So I had 2 of those. I had 2 people that connected me with like a whole different friend group on each side.
Yeah.
And 2 different friend groups, which is dope because like all the stuff that you're saying that you're interested in, you probably have a separate friend group or separate people to like do things with. And some can clash, but you're like, Gen Z is very interested in everything under the sun.
Yeah.
You know, you can work, you can dance, you can do run clubs, you can do classes, you can do art, like everything, not just from a social standpoint, but you can take it serious.
Yeah,
you know?
we're basically under the mindset, and that's so interesting that you phrased it like that because that was the whole premise of Beauty and Balance is like I think people now more than ever are realizing that you can have your profession, but they're craving something else to fulfill them on top of that. That's not just like, oh, I'm gonna do this when I'm burnt out and tired, but really I'm gonna take this seriously. I'm gonna monetize this passion. What does that look like? How much time am I investing into it? And because that was a need, that's where Beauty and Balance came, because we were like, it's a need, but let's deconstruct how to do it without burning yourself out. And keeping like wellness in the center and talking about productivity tips and getting to talk to other communities that are facing similar problems as you when it comes to like balancing your lifestyle. So
which is needed.
100%.
And like it's what's interesting is like probably something that you desired internally, how to build an authentic community.
Yes.
And this is where something like I know you just described is something that you needed, but you didn't see. So you were like, well, if I don't have access to it, I have to build this. And that is something that is like an authentic moment in how to build a community. That's the same thing for me. I didn't have access to XYZ, therefore I had to build it. And coming to a large and big city, Chicago's like the third or fourth largest. It's like in competition with Houston, but still one of the largest cities in America.
I didn't know that. Okay,
so that's something interesting. But yeah, they're in competition with Houston. But basically, I was like, all right, 20-something-year-old Jordan. I didn't grow up in Chicago. I didn't have all these connections that people illicitly have. I didn't have family connections. I didn't have friend connections. None of that. And I was like, has nobody like built this or nobody have done this before? Like, I need this. Like, where is it at? Am I not finding it? Or this is what I say. I tell this to everybody. It's the community's job to find its students. It's not the student's job to find its community.
I love that.
Because people are like, oh my God, they complain. I'm like, no, it's the community's job to go seek out and literally market themselves as much as possible and go find their students.
Running yourself as a business at the end of the day. And I think like business's number one thing is they need to listen to what their customers want. And so I think communities should have that at the heart and the focus. You're building for your community members. So it is your also responsibility to go market, quote unquote, to those community members and find the people and kind of make the decision easy for them. Like you should have a construct of like, if you are X, Y, and Z, like this community is for you. So it's really easy for people to decipher where they land and whether they should spend time with you or not.
Seriously. You said it like to a T, like being customer centric or community centric, like asking the questions of your community. And I'm about to speak your language, probably. Consulting, talk about data.
Okay,
I'm sure data, bring up the corporate lingo.
All of our corporate listeners out there are gonna love this.
Data. They were like, wait, that triggered me a little bit. It probably triggered people. So like the data side of stuff, it's data rich. It's one of the data richest things you have because you get to see how people act, what they do. You can ask them directly to their face. The more they're invested, the more they're gonna actually tell you what they want, what they're hearing about. They're gonna send you videos, links, articles, ideas, which ultimately allows you to build faster. Which also is gonna answer another question I'm sure a lot of people have is, how do I continue a community or how do I have all these ideas?
I was just gonna ask you, like going from, okay, you just came here, you started a community, you hosted like, let's say event number 1, and you can speak to what that was for you. How are you going from event 1 to building your second one? What are you listening to? What are you keeping in mind? How are you actually putting the customer community member forward? And what did that process look like for you?
So this answer is gonna be, it's gonna cross beyond just events because like my mind likes to pattern match a lot of stuff and sometimes it doesn't shut up. Luckily I don't have coffee right now.
We were just talking about
or else I'd be talking, this would be 3 hours long. First event, I enjoyed social media. I seen the power of it. I still think there's still to this day way more power than we naturally have all discovered. I seen what it did for me. So I dabbled with social media in college. I got some attention in regards to that. Naturally, you revolve around, or like people gravitate towards like the art of something and the attention that it gets. So that's what it was for me. And then I realized I was like, this is giving me so much more. It's giving me connections, friends, introductions, validations. I'm getting contact with like, and this is like before my first event. I'm getting in contact with some really cool people. I'm like, who am I? I'm like, well, this makes no sense. I was like, I got to figure this out. Like, why is this happening? And I couldn't, like, you're not going to get all the answers, but you're going to see the pattern, just like a little breadcrumb. You're like, okay, I'm just going to follow the light, whatever that is.
I call it like the snowball effect.
Exactly.
Pretty much. When people are like, how did you get to
That big
position,
mountain.
right? How did you get to like position Y? I'm like, well, I have to go back like 10 years because it was like every little decision that I kept putting myself out there for that led me to that. It wasn't like one step.
It's never one step. It's never linear. The first event was a social media event. I was like, all right, what is something we all can connect with and like have a common ground over?
Mine was too.
Really?
Yeah.
See?
Mine was literally creator speed dating for that reason, but.
Exactly, like something that's like everybody can connect with that you also resonate with, that you practice and you had enough information to talk about. And then I had about 100 people show up, and some people were like congratulating, like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like, I didn't downplay it, but sometimes I will say this. Where are you from?
Originally Bay Area.
Bay Area. So there's a thing out in the Midwest called Midwest humbleness.
Okay.
And it is a thing that like is great in conversations and great humility, but it's a downside when you try to grow something and grow yourself and go beyond like
we can talk about that.
Yeah, we could talk about that because that's a huge thing for a lot of people in the Midwest that I see. But had the Midwest humbleness of just going like, oh yeah, it was great, I didn't know the signal. I didn't see a signal at all. Like that is a large signal. A lot of people came out to an event and had a good time. Like that was a signal. And I didn't throw the second event, I think maybe 8 months after, and it wasn't even related to the first one.
Yeah. Couple things I want to touch on. First, signal, since we're on it. Do you think you didn't see the signal because in your head you're like, Jordan, my end goal is so far out. Like this, I understand is like a stepping point, but you're already thinking 10 paces forward. Because for me, that was something I faced where I just hosted Chicago Fashion Week's first South Asian runway through my community, Beauty and Balance. And
that was amazing.
It was a blast. Like it was everything I wanted in creative direction. We had over 350 people come out. It was like sold out venue to capacity. We had designers, artists, singers, like you name it. It was very like all encompassing. I wanted to showcase different art forms. And I planned it in 6 weeks because I just like had a mission and partnered with Chicago Fashion Coalition. And day of, I mean, it was surreal looking back on the videos. I had people coming up to me, like waiting to talk to me, to ask me how I did this. And it was supposed to be, in everyone else's mind, like this big milestone, like that signal. That, okay, Alisha, like this is something you should dive forward in. And the next day I was like, okay, cool, back to work. Like, because in my head, I was already thinking like, what is the next 5 years? I don't like to roadmap. I wouldn't say it was like, oh, I need to take X, Y, and Z steps, but it was like, what is the vision for the next 5 years? And I understand this was such a good milestone. Like I can appreciate that and have gratitude for everything, but I was already like, okay, this is just scratching the surface, you guys. So I wonder, is that what it was for you? Or do you think you just didn't see the signal, if that makes sense?
There's so many things that just popped in my head. And in regards to the signal, I believe there's so many signals you're going to be given, and you're going to get, it's just naturally information overload to just a single person. Because like, if you go back to the tribal days, like one person doesn't really host an event for 300 people. Naturally, I don't know the exact numbers, but it could be between like 20 to like 100 people.
Okay, interesting.
And so like, I think having a brain that can take in that information is not something you're just naturally born with. You have to practice it over and over, like hundreds of events and just hundreds of different conversations, so you can see and pick up on those patterns that people say.
And both of us did that, where we went to events, we saw how things were done, we like took note of it, and that's what prepared us to build those type of events.
Exactly. And then it gets to a phase where you do the big event, but you don't know what's next because you haven't seen what's next. And that's the hard part. That's the gap that's like hard to fill, because you're like, if I don't see it, how can I bring it to life? Like you said, what's my 5-year dream? Or like, what's my 5-year path?
Yeah, totally.
You're almost, I guarantee you're going to be 100% or 99% wrong.
Yeah.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't say wrong. Like if you go like, hey, I'm going to go do this, like you're for sure going to do it, but it's going to be this and.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's going to be.
Totally. Like if you look back a year, I had no clue any of this was coming up.
No.
So.
And that's exciting. That's the excitement moment. There is so many signals that you can get out of it. It's just hard to see what signal is true, because there's always going to be more signals. Oh, you should do this again. Oh, you should do this. No one knows like all the people that you reach out to, how to get coordinated, like what it took. Like no one even knows that like, oh, this aligned accordingly, that you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it would only work if it aligned perfectly like this, and it did, but I don't know if I can get
So
that
many
again.
details.
Yeah, you know, like there's like
Oh my
internal, there's
gosh.
stuff like other people don't see because they see like the surface level.
Yeah. So that is actually a really interesting topic because founder-led brands and creator-led brands are performing way better than, I think it was like 4 times better than just brands that don't have a founder placed first. And not saying that it can't be successful, but we're seeing a world in which founders are meant to be influencers now in order to,
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a head of content for, I don't know if it was PayPal or something, like some CEO.
Okay.
There's like a role out there for like head of content.
Stop,
for this for like a
really?
CEO.
So I think it's just like, it goes to show that social media has truly changed the landscape of business.
Oh,
in
for
itself.
sure.
With that comes the idea of building publicly. And I think social media has also kind of undermined what it takes to build, because we're seeing founders build publicly, but we're not seeing close to enough of the details.
Not at all.
Right? People are like, oh, that brand blew up overnight. If you think of, launch to year 1, they're like, how did they raise whatever $1 million in 1 year? And we're like, no, when you're in it, you know that was 5 years of planning to even get to launch. But that's not shown. And so I feel like, yes, founders are building publicly, but it's not all of the information. How do you go about like building publicly? Obviously you have a social media presence. Like, what are you showing online in your brand and what are you not?
Everybody's like everybody's gonna listen to like what you're showing, and then here's what I'm not showing.
Yeah.
That's when you turn up the volume. Boop boop boop.
Yep.
And I'm gonna ask you that same question too, because I know you got some thoughts.
Yeah, I do.
Look, see, you got some sauce. So, I mean, showing stuff online, I would say that is like, it's so much easier for a lot of young people in Gen Z, just because like I try to work with older people as well on the same concept too.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with like the age difference too. For young people in Gen Z, like it's so much easier because people can have an authentic story. We can actually tell their stories out loud.
Yeah.
People are actually listening and taking care. Older generations, they had to hide their stories. They had to hide their personalities.
That is so interesting.
And like it's very, very unfortunate. But yeah, like they had to hide their personalities and they didn't get to have like such a human-centric storytelling moment. Even though they had more time off screen than we did, they still weren't able to express themselves, especially at work, because they had to put a face on, or they had to do something they just didn't want to do that they weren't aligned with because they had to, and people didn't listen to them at all. They were just like, oh whatever. Even though deep down a lot of people did resonate with like those people, but now like anybody can pick up a phone, make a TikTok, and get straight validation through like saying something that's so resonating with like a lot of people, and you get 10,000 likes and 100,000 views, and then instantly that signal for something.
It was, not to cut you off, but it was hard for my parents because I'm a child of immigrant parents. And so when I was like, I'm gonna share everything online, like I started sharing online through my podcast when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I was the first thing I shared was the story of how I got cyberbullied. And so it's a pretty heavy topic. It's a very vulnerable topic. Like I'm sharing, what the text messages were, how it made me feel as a form of advocacy for the issue. But my parents, coming from a different country, are like, we're here to do our job. Like, this might be too much negative attention. And I don't think you have to be a child of immigrant parents for your parents to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because of that generational gap. So it's
No,
very true.
and there is going to be a disconnect.
Yeah.
And I like to say this too, there's going to be like, whenever you have kids, if that's something you're interested in, and whenever I do too, like there's going to be a disconnect there.
Yeah.
But it's like, nice to acknowledge that like people are going to grow up in a different age and a different time with different tools like than other people have in the past.
What are you then comfortable, like you in your position right now, comfortable sharing
putting out,
online?
So I think it's good to put out a lot of stuff. And I initially was like kind of, early on I was just putting out a lot of information. But I didn't see, like you see all these bad stories. Oh, this person got fired because of XYZ. Oh, this person got,
Keeps me up at night.
like, oh, this person got fired because of whatnot.
Truly,
Like, oh, like, like these stories. And it's just like fear mongering, like fear of anything.
Yeah.
Like that is 1 or 2 individuals out of 2 million. Like okay, go the odds. Everybody does numbers. We just talked about data.
Yeah.
One out of like two, or one of 1 million, or 2 out of 2 million. Like, name the percentage of that, and that's the likelihood that's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Like, those big articles are always gonna hit the news, and that's why you can't be too fearful. If you track every person's story, and I've done this so much, like I track all these successful people's stories.
Totally.
And I'm just like, where did they go? Where did they start? Like, how did they get to where they got?
I do the exact same thing.
You know, because that's what you got to go back to the root.
You have to know, like, look at someone you want to emulate.
Yeah.
And really understand. You don't have to copy something, like, you know, copy their path, because everyone's path is going to be different. But I think when I get into a point of anxiousness, I look at the people I want to emulate, and I'm like, they have gone through so much.
Name someone.
Oh my gosh.
Off the top of your head.
I think the founder of Live Tinted right now, I was just listening to a podcast with her and a community builder I really like, Maggie Sellers, who built Hot, Smart, Rich.
Yeah. I just followed her, actually.
Oh, okay. I absolutely love her. I've been listening to her for a couple years now. She did a podcast with Deepika Mutiala, who's the founder of Live Tinted. And it was just like her story of, you know, being in corporate, being told no a ton of times, being told how to use her money for her business. Yeah. And pretty much kind of defeating the odds and still building authentically as a minority founder, building for all skin tones, which at that point was like pretty unique at the time. So I just go back to stories like that where it's most often the path not taken. And so we can't really be afraid of that path if you want to be a founder that's willing to risk it for your passion.
And you know what you just said? I just want to go back and reiterate that. You're like talking about the path not taking and taking a risk on that. And that's why it popped in my head when you said, I just got done with my event. I had to go straight back to work. I was like, I want to be in a world where you don't have to go back to work. And the event is that work that you're doing. Because I feel like people like yourself have so many ideas and so many things you want to take path on. And sometimes work can be a distraction of what truly is going to move, not just you, but other people. And, you know, make more money, make more research, and make more happiness for a lot of people. And that's what I hope we dive more into, is like allowing people like yourself to dive more into that. Not like, because certain corporate work is very helpful if you're on the right team, with the right people, learning the right skills, getting exposed to the right projects. But it will come to a time where it will be a distraction, because it's like once you know, if you brush your teeth and you know how to brush your teeth, it's like, what am I doing here? Like, I know how to brush my teeth. I need to go get in the kitchen and start cooking, because that's the next skill I need to learn and I want to learn.
Totally. So I get this question a lot. Probably one of my most asked questions is along the lines of how do you balance a full-time corporate job with building everything? How do you know you want to still do both, and do you have time for it? And then the second question that's like under that umbrella is like, how do you actually communicate what you're doing outside of work with your corporate managers?
All right, can we get it, before we get an answer, I'm gonna flip it a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take the ending and put it in the beginning. I wanna get the answers out of how that is.
Okay.
But what are your fears about doing stuff outside of work, and how do you communicate that fear or avoid it or deal with it when dealing in a corporate environment? For example, if you do something outside and you know it has like some type of connection or slight conflict, at least in your view, of like what people are gonna view inside.
Sure.
How do you take care of it? Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. So I haven't talked about this like publicly.
Yeah.
I'll like answer people's DMs, but this is what I do. I believe that you sticking to your values and your truth is the number one most important. So I think the biggest mistake people make is they try to hide it from the people that they're working with.
Okay.
They try to brush it aside. They're like, I'm not really doing anything this weekend, but I am building so publicly. If any of my managers or my client is following me on LinkedIn, which they do, our clients look us up, and I've been told that, and I'm like, great, look me up. I am willing to stand all 10 toes behind everything that I'm doing outside of work. And I'm also willing to show you my work logs and promise you that my client deliverables will get done on time. And it's because of the first question, but we'll get there. So what I do is I believe in over communicating.
Okay.
I will tell on every stand-up, they're like, what are you doing this weekend? let me tell you what I'm doing this weekend. I'm actually hosting X, Y, and Z event, and I've been working, after I log off, I've been looking at this logistic, I've been looking at that logistic. What I think helps is putting other people's minds at ease, because the fear only comes of the fear of the unknown. When they think that you're not doing your work correctly, or you're not going to be spending time or energy. So what I do is I over communicate both at work, telling them like, these are the things I need to get done. I'm going to deliver it to you on time. This is the timeline. This is the capacity I have. And then not being afraid to share my passions that truly make me human. And not only human, it makes me better at my job.
Yeah.
Like if I'm able to plan an event with 350 people, I'm surely able to help a client get into speaking engagements and figure out their go-to-market strategy.
Right.
Because I'm doing that as a one-woman show for my community.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think drawing parallels for people in their brain so they don't have to fill in the gap helps reduce that fear. Quickly to touch upon the first one, where it's like, okay, how do you know you're ready to go full-time into your passion, or why am I still in my job? Like, how am I balancing both? I think it goes to like prioritization of passions.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm still at a point where I'm getting so much from my full-time job.
Yeah.
I'm not only enjoying it, but I can see myself constantly learning something new that's helping me apply it to other aspects of my life.
Right.
So I know for myself, it's not the right time to make that jump. I'm not burnt out yet. Yeah, well, there's going to be a point where you hit the burnout, right?
Yeah.
Like when two things become so unmanageable.
Yeah.
But you need to be so honest with yourself and your managers. And I think it's
100%.
just like that communication, like that level setting of expectations.
Yeah.
Right? Or you hit burnout and you figure out a way to manage it because you still want to continue.
Right.
So I'm not going to say burnout's not real. Like I'm sure it's in the horizon, but it's how you manage and how you continue to reflect on your priorities. I hope that answered.
No, that's a really good answer. The curiosity a lot of managers or coworkers have, they're always going to ask, and they see you doing great things, and they're always going to be curious, how are you doing it? That's the first thing people ask. That's what we ask when we see somebody do something successful.
Wow, this is awesome.
They're like, wow.
Give me your day to day.
Yeah, it's like, how do you do it? How does this, and everything makes sense once you hear the full explanation, because we're all human. Nobody is has this I shouldn't say nobody. There's very, 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 very small amount of people that really are just okay, that's incredible.
You're on something else.
You're on something else. I don't know what you're taking, what kind of drugs you're taking, but let me know what those are. All right.
That should be as what you post publicly.
Making some products, I will buy it myself. It's so interesting because a lot of managers we want to deep dive into your life and want to care so much, and some managers, it's not always good too. It's some people always well, are they going to get their work done? Do they have enough time? Are they putting this effort in?
Totally.
If they have more capacity outside, then that means they have more capacity inside. And I mean, I've had a manager in the past that claimed they were oh, I know what mental health is. I'm like, sweetie, I promise you no.
Oh.
I was like, you the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, your people skills are very, very slim to none. And I was questioning because I was you see somebody that's so much older, you're okay, I gotta look up to this person. They've been around the ringer many different times, but they didn't go around the right ringer. They didn't play the right game, and they got taught the wrong lessons, and then they try to put those lessons on other individuals. And I was like, this is not feeling right. This doesn't feel good. But when you have a good manager and good team like you do, you get able to connect with, and then people get inspired by. The thing you did the best was you communicated correctly. You were look, you were excited, you were upfront. Hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm hosting. Yeah. And if anybody if they didn't see and read between the lines, and then you give the explanation of, no, this is what we do for our clients, and this is what I'm posting, and actually this external activity can help me build skills in order to what to do for the internal clients.
Clients look me up and want to work with me because of what I'm doing.
You want to know something interesting about that concept?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually nice. First of all, that's actually fire. I believe the most valuable people that are going to work for companies are the ones that have some sort of social presence. But companies are so fearful because they do not know how to work with those individuals yet. And they're always going to look, because everybody does this. I see this in football. I see it in companies. I've seen it in actual college institutions. Everybody waits for the people that do it to certain people to do it to test out a concept and to see it done successfully. Then everybody dives in and copies. I'm sure some people are testing it out as we talk right now, whereas they hire somebody that has a social presence, and that is part of the offer, is like, we see who you are, your social presence, and who you got to bring. It's just like the same, similar concept is someone with a client list, bringing the same client list other to another firm.
Right.
Of whatever sort of category. But basically, like, you have an aura, you have a good speech, you have a good presence online, so people are willing to pay for that. And I'm sure businesses are going to be like, hey, like, we're going to hire you for XYZ, and we're going to charge you, like, we're going to give you, say, a salary, we'll just say a base salary, $100,000 salary, when in reality, like, you're worth like $250, because you're like, whoa, no. Like, you're asking me to give this work deliverable, but knowing worth, but like, the actual worth that you want out of me is not doing this. Everybody can do this, right? Yes.
You want my presence, you want my brand. It's
because that ultimately is sales. Sales. Like, everything is sales when it comes down to it. It's like the reason why a company would want somebody is just because they can drive sales in some sort of manner. And I think those are the people who are going to be the most valuable, because it is a risk that you take young when saying, like, putting yourself out there, saying the words, like, because you may not have the best communication. I mean, no one's actually going to have the best communication. It's something you build over time. Yeah. Especially online, copywriting, putting yourself out there, explaining things the right way, actually garnering attention. And that's another thing for you, especially on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is dry. It's dry. It's so boring. Like, no one scrolls happily on LinkedIn for entertainment. Like, I
started to do more LinkedIn, so I started posting my Instagram videos on LinkedIn.
I seen that, and I'm not lying to you. So like. So I'm giving this person a shout out because this is way from left field. There's this girl named Lindsay Fishman.
Okay, I need to look her up.
She used to be out here in Chicago. She creates content, but she creates off the wall content. Like, just great. Like, it's hilarious, and I personally like it.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I deep down feel like a lot of people also like it. They just don't want to publicly say it. But basically, it's just like off the wall stuff.
Okay,
just
so
like
no
filter on anything.
Yeah.
And
like stream of consciousness thought.
Stream of consciousness, like. Just the hidden thoughts, but out in real life, which is also just like authenticity. And she started like doing that on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, she's gonna blow up easily. Like, it's not even gonna be like, because LinkedIn is so damn dry, and it's so damn corporate that, like, stuff that you post, I'm like, oh, this is a breath of fresh air. Oh, there's flowers. You know, like, it's just like, oh, great. Versus like all this other dry stuff that's like, and the purpose of people posting on LinkedIn is always just marketing and sales. That's what it is.
But there's a way to do that, though. So my thing is, like, there's a way to have a brand that is not just, I got this job, I'm so grateful, which, okay, you have to do those posts once in a while, you know, give thanks where they're due. But there is a way to build a brand publicly online that's not just cut and dry copy paste template, but is still advocating for yourself. And that's actually a topic I do want to get to, is like, how do you advocate for yourself as Gen Z and as a youth in the position? Because to me, I post the same way I do on Instagram, not the same content, but the same way, like the same intention on Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Because I truly believe, like, that is my voice, and I'm building a brand, and that brand spans different channels. Like, if someone looks up Alisha on Instagram, that same voice is gonna come out on my LinkedIn, because I'm building something holistic. And I want people to recognize that voice. I want, you know, someone to understand what my brand is when I'm not in the room. And
that is what brand is.
Right. And that came with really like breaking down, what does confidence look like for me as a 23-year-old female who is oftentimes the youngest in the room? You know, how do I overcome that imposter syndrome? How do I prove honestly to myself that, like, my voice matters? There's so many instances in which this kind of wavers, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about confidence as well, and just being like confident with your manager, right? All of that comes from truly understanding your worth and your value. I spoke at Harvard recently. I'm sorry, huh? One more time? I spoke at Harvard like a month, 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, we're talking with confidence. You did what?
Yeah, I talked at the Women in Business Conference. I taught a 45-minute workshop on how to align your passions through, like, Beauty and Balance's mission. But I tell you, like, it was a mental struggle to get to a point where I could stand up on that stage and feel respect for myself, that people would listen to me. And I'm not gonna lie, like that's maybe some of the stuff I don't post as much about, you know, like that's things I should maybe talk about more online, but it was so difficult, Jordan. Like every day I would look at who else is speaking in the conference. You have like the CEO of Nude Sticks.
Yeah.
You know, you have like Olivia Ponton, who's like supermodel, Victoria's Secret model. And I'm just like, oh my God, had they pull me out of this hat, you know? But it's training yourself to have that confidence, because that's what shows ultimately in your brand and on stage.
Confidence it's so key, and I think you should share it. Like, I mean, the reason why you may not want to share, and I feel the same way about many different areas of my journey too, is just like, I'm not familiar with this path, so how do I talk about it?
Yeah.
That is the hook. I'm not familiar with this path, but I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
It's in whatever that looks like for you, because that's like that authenticity that you're gonna look back when you're like in your late 20s and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like that was authentically me. I didn't know at that moment in time, but if I was gonna give myself advice, I'm now gonna give myself advice because I've been through all that.
Yeah.
But that's still amazing. And then always, I remember hearing this in sports all the time. When you share a stage with great people, you just say that again in your head. I am sharing a stage with great people.
Yeah.
I am one of the great people on this stage with other great people. That means I am a great person.
Yeah.
So like, that's something that you always say too. Just like those other individuals, and you say their name and what they're known for. You say your name in your head and what you are known for in your head. And like that is just so key when giving yourself confidence, because that is never going to end of you being around people that are above you, because that is where growth is.
And that's the place you want to be in,
yes.
right? You want to be in the place where you are maybe not the smartest in the room. You have so many other people that you want to look up to and get inspiration from. I think that was like one of the biggest drivers for me, really. It was like, forget why I'm here, forget like what I'm even speaking about. It was mostly like, I am surrounding myself by people I want to be in their place soon.
100%.
And that is like the biggest driver. Like that means I should go, I should show up. And when you show up confidently, like when you show up knowing that you are worth it, it shows to other people.
Yeah.
And I think they respect you more then. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter like what your background is, where you came from. If you can understand your worth and your brand, I think that's gonna make moves for you, and you're gonna have more inbound requests than you going like outbound research.
Yeah, 100%. Because then like when it rains, it pours. It's when you finally get something that you desired, you're gonna get a lot more than you asked for.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
That's, I like this one. We're gonna talk about motion.
Ooh,
motion
okay.
is a topic for me for 2026.
Yes.
Just because like I've realized, looking at my past experiences, looking at other people I connected with, the stories they tell, including yourself, Alisha. How many things can you do in one day? Is the thing I want to ask.
Point blank, just how many things? List them out.
And go into detail, because that's super key with like, I mean, even me, like, even
like, it depends.
See, no, never. See, the consulting answer, you gotta throw that out for here. I would joke around with my consulting friends all the time, and
like,
I ask them the question they hate. It's like, what do you actually do?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
How I break up my life. At the beginning of every year, I write down the categories of my life.
Okay.
It tends to be dance, something I call like my freelancing, which tends to be like keynote speaking, content creation, social media, and modeling. But those are like my creative freelancing. I kind of bucket that into one. Then I have professional, which is my full-time job. And then I have personal and social, which I kind of group into one. So like take those 4 categories in brief. The way that I break up my day is actually the way that I break up my week, I would say. So I try to hit at least in somewhat equal parts those 4 categories. Day to day, it looks very different. There are some days where I have dance practice for 4 hours because we have a show coming up. And so I go to my 9 to 5 and then I go to dance, and I have to commute there, and I have to eat, and I have to sleep. And so that is my day. there are some days where I get to do this in the morning, and then I get to go meet my community for lunch. I get to spend time with my friends for dinner, and I get a workout in, and maybe I'll choreograph. So there's some days where it looks 25% equally. I think what's important and what I do at the beginning of every single week is I write down what are my tasks in each category specifically.
Okay.
What is the time that I want to allocate to those tasks to actually complete them and move the needle forward?
Yeah.
And whether it's realistic or not. And I will still keep it on my to-do sheet, but I'll note I'm probably not going to get to this thing, and it's okay. And it's like that internal prioritization of the week that helps me structure the days and just realize and understand that, like, I had an application due on Friday for a speaking gig that I'm trying to get.
Okay.
And I knew, like, okay, this week is going to be speaking heavy.
Yeah.
I need to prep for this, make sure I'm coming fresh and prepared. I have that speaking gig. So I didn't have any dance workshops this week, or I went maybe Monday, but, I didn't spend as much time there. And I charted and accounted for that in the beginning of the week. So I would know.
So very much like meticulous planned with your categories that you set in the beginning, and then you break down those categories into the weekly plans, and then ultimately like daily actions.
Exactly. Yeah, and I write down another thing, and then I want to hear your response. Something that's helped me tremendously is I write down everything I need to get done for the day, and I hyper focus into that.
Okay.
Because I think what people can do is like, okay, you're juggling a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you're different. So I'm like really interested in hearing yours, because we talked about like type B, type everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I write down everything I need to get done for the day, and instead of wondering and focusing on like, oh, 2 days from now I have this I have to do, it helps my brain to just lock into that to-do list. I will write things down like I need to do laundry. I still have like those dishes in the sink. Like I will write those down, because for me, in my brain, it just helps me hyper fixate. And I've found that I get the most work done without stressing myself out or becoming anxious when I have a to-do list that's really specific, like focused on just a couple things that if those go really well, I've had a productive day. And I know I have.
And that makes you feel fulfilled.
It does.
It gives you energy and momentum to the next day.
Exactly. And then I'm not bogged down on all of the other details.
Yeah. See, I've felt, that's so interesting. I felt the same way. So I used to be very like that.
Okay.
Very, very type A, because especially with school, sports, I was very high achiever, put a lot of effort into what I did. It came with a lot of great outcomes in regards to like the goals I set and whatnot, especially with sports. Like you have a rigid schedule.
Yeah.
It's like completely rigid.
I can imagine.
Every single day. But that can also produce a lot of anxiety once you get pulled, like stripped away from something you're used to. You're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do because I used to have all this. Very type A, very organized, always kept up with things. But I got around people, and I'm like, oh my God, they've got more whatever than me. Like whatever it was, success or resources or fun or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, they're between me and them. And I was like breaking that down. I was like, I plan so much more than them. I have such a rigid schedule. I'm way more disciplined.
Like,
and I was
why
like,
am I not getting
I was like, why am I not A to B? From A to B, I was trying to get there faster. So I tried to be a little bit more type B. I took it and I was like, you know what, let me test something out. So I got relaxed a little bit more on details, didn't stress out over things that didn't go the right way or the wrong way. I got better results. And I was like, what is this? I was like, wait.
Like,
and I was like, because I was like, I usually plan everything, I write everything out. I'm very meticulous, detail oriented. My dad always said that's what Michael Jackson does, and that's something that he would admire that I do a lot. And I was like, oh, I'm making those connections. Totally. Michael Jordan too, like all the Michaels, right? And I was like, okay, let me test something out. Let me be a little bit more type B. So event planning, oh my God. That is one of the most type A and B, I would say tons of type B that you can possibly do, because front end events and like communities and curations, everybody thinks that like it's glorious and all like amazing. The back end chaotic. Like you don't know like 48 hours.
Like the napkins that have to be like folded a specific way, colored a specific way. Like there's details.
Waters or toilet paper in the bathroom. Toilet paper, what are you talking about? I'm worried about like people walking in.
Yeah.
And you're worried about toilet paper. Like and like and then also people like canceling or I'm gonna do this. Oh, the videographer's not gonna show up.
Individual text messages.
Oh, and you're just like,
don't know.
And then 4 people walk in and they're like, hi, hey Alisha, how's it going? You're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Give me one sec. I gotta. And so like you have to be a little bit type B, knowing that everything is gonna like all plans. A plan is just like to get your mind set on the direction. All plans never go to plan. That's like, this is the nature of the fact, and that's okay. I moved to a little bit more type B because it made me a little bit, it made me a lot more flexible. And naturally, you should bounce back and forth.
I agree.
Because like type A is when you got everything solidified in your life, you know what's going on. But in order to grow, you have to step out of that comfort zone and get to a place where like type A is not gonna work, because you're about to step into a place where it's about to pour so much opportunity that you have no fucking clue what to do with it. And this is, I tell my friends this too, and it happens in their life all the time. I'm like, when it rains, it's gonna pour. There's gonna be seasons where things are gonna be dry. You'll not have any speaking engagements. You'll be like, damn, like Q1, like why didn't it go like this? Q2, you'll have literally like all the speaking engagements. Like you can have L'Oreal, Skims, Harvard, Stanford, and you're like, and they're all in the same week, and you're gonna be like, no, like why didn't you just contact me? Or like you should have said
spread this out in my life a little
you
bit.
should just spread and they're all gonna ask for the same time, and you're like how do I do this? Or like how do I choose? How do I say no to this and say yes to this? And that has always been the case, and I'm just like, I wish it wasn't like that, but that's also just like wishful thinking. It's just like you gotta sometimes be a little bit more type B and just go like, cool, like I had a plan to do X, Y, Z, and now I just gotta go take a different direction and just wing it.
Do you know some of my favorite instances are when I had an event or a gig that maybe a couple months ago, previous to that, I would have like done anything to go to. But day of, something came up, whether it was professional, personal, I wanted to spend time with my brother who was visiting, whatever. And I have it in me to turn down that said gig or event to prioritize something else in my life. I think that is such a good indicator that you are truly like moving with the waves of life. Yeah. And not sticking to like a rigid path of what you should be doing. Because like there is no path of like what you should be doing, and the opportunity cost is always gonna be unknown when it's like something like an event. Like who are you gonna meet? That's something I would hear a lot is I have to go to everything because I never know who's gonna be in that event. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but like you never know who you're gonna bump into on the street or who you're gonna sit next to on the plane. Yeah. So I actually really like what you said, because I think I definitely balance between the two. I think type A sets me up to be type B on the days that I need to exercise creativity. Right? And I need to like just let things flow. And some of my favorite days are days where I just have a bunch of creative gigs and I'm just like bouncing back and forth. And I'm not thinking about, did I cross off all the things on my schedule, or like nothing on paper is touched, but I'm allowing myself to be in that flow and be in that type B. And it's because I was able to structure the rest of my week and get what I needed to get done, if that makes sense.
Right. It's like almost being type A before you become a type B. Like handling my business so I can allow for some flexibility and creativity to stand.
I love that.
How much are you actually doing one day? For me, so I want to get more tactical with the conversations.
Yes.
So I want to talk about like how, like just the how much I could do in one day. I would test these theories out. I'm like, how much can I do in one day? Okay. In the city of Chicago, I would say geographically it matters on where you are of how much you can do in one day and the resources you have access to. So I'll just start with and stay with Chicago. There's other cities and motion works differently in each city.
And but the energy of the city too,
so
right?
Much,
it affects you.
Oh. That's a whole nother conversation. Like your environment, that's a biggest influence. But with Chicago, you can do so many things in a walkable city like Chicago. I can wake up, I can get a workout in. I can get a group workout in fact, and then go straight to getting coffee with a coffee meeting with somebody. And then I am able to say go shopping, and then I can go to a bookstore and read a book in the same day, and then go meet up with somebody for lunch, and then have more friends come along too, and then go frolic around the city, and then dive into more activities. If I want to get another run in the evening, and then go to a birthday party or event, and then host an event after that, and then go to dinner, say on a date,
I'm like, was this your yesterday? Because
and then go to a nighttime activity, and then after that. That is something a lot of people can do, and I really didn't know. That's why, like, if I can shake the younger self of me and just be like, look, dude, just go and get in motion and figure it out. And the first thing people have is like, dude, I don't have any resources, I don't have friends, I don't have money, and that's okay. Like, a lot of people, it's hard to say this out loud. The two things that it's hard to say out loud is I don't have friends to do things with, and I don't have resources and money to spend on those events.
Yes.
I was in those same places.
Yeah.
I literally canceled one time a trip to Chicago. That is before I lived here, because I didn't have the money to go to Chicago. I came here because I didn't have any friends, and I had to go to events by myself because I had no fucking friends. And like, those are the two things that scare people the most, and like so many people resonate with, but you can't, it's hard to say out loud.
It is.
And I don't
no one
blame,
wants to be lonely. That's like,
no one wants to be
I think our number
lonely,
one
no.
fear
Is
as
to be lonely.
humanity.
Yeah.
Right?
So like, that aspect alone was just like such a high pain point. I learned how to get in motion, and there's so many things you can do in one day. And you can do it for little to no cost. In certain cities, you got to figure out, like, you got to figure out your friend group. What do they have connections with? What are their resources? What are your resources? What are you offering? Like, how are you going to get around? Like, Ubers, train. Like, who can you ride with? But there's so many things you can do in one day and just have that motion. And then you learn so much so fast. And that learning compounds in so many different areas. Like, for you, dancing, like, you'll be surprised how many people dance out here too. Like, there's actually a VC, someone in VC, she is a professional, I think, bachata? I don't know.
Okay.
But I was like, professional? I was like, and I was like, I love that. But there's so many different people that are very interested in their paths, and you just have to like really get in motion and try new things out.
Do you know what helps me get in motion the best?
What is it?
It is
Coffee?
having, oh, okay, so yes. That is like the number one thing, but aside from something that I'm heavily addicted to, it is talking to people, like just having genuine conversation. I walked into the store because I really liked it, and as I was browsing, I decided, let me just go talk to the people working here. More than just what should I buy, like what's the good pieces. Obviously that is like common conversation, sure. It was more like, how did you start working here? You know, what pieces here inspired you? And through that, we were able to record here. Because I truly believe that getting in motion to me is like understanding how you connect with other human beings. And I think that is gonna be like the needle that points you in the direction you need to go into.
Yeah, I just like, that's all that in my head. I was like, literally go out in public and fucking talk. Like literally open your mouth and talk, communicate, and you can like shit the bed with your words and no one will care. Like, because as long as you just get better, it's just like you said. And that is like such, for like Gen Z people, that is like one of the biggest lifts is you can go outside my house, put clothes on and go to a place I don't know about and talk to somebody I don't know. Holy shit. I'd rather
if I put
die.
makeup on at 8 a.m., you can do it. You can
in
do
2 degree weather. It's literally just go outside and talk. And a lot of people are still stuck behind their phones. I even know some creators that are really good talking behind their phone with their screen because they're so comfortable. In person, you just have a conversation with some creators, and it's just like, oh, like, damn, like the skills you portray online are really good, but like in person, they're not there yet. And that's okay, because as long as you keep practicing it, it's something for me, because I naturally wasn't the most extroverted individual.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I was like,
imagine.
Yeah, well, it's just the environment I grew up in, like praised introversion, because like you follow the rules, you are able to work with, you know, you're not talking out in class or whatever that, and like I was a good student, whatever, and I kept my ideas and thoughts in my head, which I highly recommend to not always do. If you do that, you need to express it, and that's the only way that's the only way you learn a lot, is to express it in some shape or form. Whether that's like on the computer, writing, talking is the best way, or the way we know the most. To each its own is the best way. When you go outside and put yourself out there in a place like this that we're recording in right now, with these beautiful like dishes, this background, and all this great lighting, and it's absolutely amazing lighting on our brown skin.
I know.
Shout out Brown.
I love it.
It's all because you go into a new space that you've never been before. And just talk, tell a story.
Totally.
And that's what people love the most.
Okay, we have like maybe just a couple minutes left. Do you want to just do some rapid fires?
Rapid
to end
fires
it off?
and very tactical.
Okay.
Down.
Do you think the multi-hyphenate lifestyle is genuine or performative for most people?
Multi-hyphenate.
Pursuing multiple things at the same time.
I think the future of people, and this is something I highly, highly bet on, and I've been thinking about this, your average person in the future is going to have a lot more skill sets than people in the past. And the reason why I say that is because definitely from my experience in New York, there's no way in hell I could have moved around that city so fast and efficiently if I didn't have this tools of my iPhone and the information that's on that iPhone. And I believe you can do a lot more than people in the past. And some people can't handle it in their head that other people can do more than them. Yeah. As in like, oh man, how does this person do this, this, and this? And they're all successful. It's because they either have a team or they have resources or tools or access to either of the above that you just didn't have or don't have. And so I believe you can do a lot, but for someone who has juggled a lot too, I do think there is a time where you should and you have to focus. 100%. Because everything can be endlessly studied, innovated, like rugs. I don't know why I'm just looking at a rug. Like you can take a rug that has been made like in Turkey and overseas in the Middle East for thousands of years and still innovate it. Like I should say health, like beauty, that's something I look into a lot, is there's still so much beauty products that are continually and will be rolled out. Even though it's such a saturated industry. Like there's a time where
it's evolving.
And there's a time to focus once you see some strong signal and you go like, look, this is the thing that I'm gonna be number one at. And that involves saying no to other opportunities that I am pretty good at. And I think that it's like a little bit of both. But I do think more people are gonna be able to balance more than they have in the past.
I'm so glad you said that because that's literally why I built Beauty and Balance. So I would be really hurt if it wasn't the case. Okay, one more. What is something you're struggling with right now?
The first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, just like off the top of your head.
Was too many conversations with too many people with too many signals. Which is like a focus.
Can I steal that? I think that's my struggle too.
See, too many conversations with too many people with too many signals. Because I will say, like, it is so amazing and you get such juice out of like talking to so many people, hearing so many stories,
like, I want to collab with you. I want to do this.
I want to work with you. I want to work this. I want to do this. And then after you go through, and I recommend everybody going through a phase of that. Like, go rush all that. After that, you start reflect. You're like, well, that was good. That was not good. That was amazing. I probably shouldn't do that again. I worked with that person really well. I didn't work with that person at that chapter in life yet. So it's just like a lot of information all at once. I had struggled with it because I love being around people. I love pouring into people and I love that. But I was like, all right, now I gotta make sure, I gotta kind of look back. I'm like, does my bucket have water in it?
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you pour out so much water and everything else.
Yourself?
Yeah, you're like, damn, it's like, where the hell did my water go? So I think it's like, it's a nice chapter to like I said, you have to pivot a little bit and go back like side by side and go to a phase where you gotta like enclose and like what works and like really hone in. How about you? If it wasn't this one.
If it wasn't focus. The one thing I'm struggling with right now, I think is, letting go of things in the past that worked that maybe don't work now.
Wait.
You're like, I'm gonna steal that.
Wait, that one is like, sorry, but this is like, that is a super big thing for a lot of people. And I think that's like, even harder for people that are millennials and older because there's so many things.
For so long, and but your life has changed, your goals have changed, the way that you conduct yourself has changed, and so you need to start to reassess.
What's an example? What's like an example?
Okay, for me right now, it's friendships.
Okay.
And I think that's like the biggest example where I'm like, these people obviously meant something to me at some point, but right now, I don't see the relationship being like a mutual, we're helping each other grow, you know, and I've found other people that like really spark me up. And the second I talk to them, I'm like, this is someone I want in my life right now. Like, and I can see it going forward. And like, I can just compare the two instances, and not to say like there are different people for different roles in your life, but you can tell when you're like, okay, that was great for a season.
You should definitely don't lose that. Because sometimes like I would fight that same thing. I'm like, oh, like, I know this person XYZ, I'm important to this person.
Yeah.
That's literally something in your 20s that's always gonna happen.
Yes.
And I bet 30s is gonna be the same too. It has happened to me many times and I've like held on or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this person doesn't like serve me just like I serve them. And that's okay. Like, and I always tell people like, it literally is like, you know, you separate and most likely somehow life's gonna bring you back in another phase.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
totally
fine. And when you get around people that give you so much energy, oh my God, stay around those individuals for as long as you can, because that's what I feel too, is like, I'll go to another place and I'm like, I really feel amazing. Like,
yeah.
And I think about a lot of things, especially when it comes to marketing, consumerism. I don't know, it's just like happens to be popping in my head all the time. There's nothing, at least for me, and I think this is gonna be boiled down to a lot of individuals, there's nothing that makes me more excited than hearing a story being told by an individual. Like, there's no products, services, physical items. Like, it doesn't excite me as much as long. Because, like, you could buy something, like, say, like, you get, like, a Cartier bracelet or whatever. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing, happy, amazing. You're not gonna care about that Cartier bracelet unless it's given down by a significant other or a parent.
It's the
It just becomes an item.
Yeah.
But it's the story that's told, that's something that you go like, look, that still will make me happy to this day in my mind. And everybody's chasing a feeling. Nobody's chasing like a physical product or whatever. They are, but in their end result, they're chasing a feeling. Sitting down with somebody and hearing a story that they say is just much more fulfilling in the long term. And if you get in front of somebody that sits and says like a story or gives you information and that lights you up, you better send them a damn Google invite for a damn meeting a month in advance and be like, look, like, we'll meet again.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably, truthfully. But it feels so good to be in front of those people because, like, you leave with so much inspiration and ideas. You're like, you need to run to a notepad immediately.
Yeah.
You're like, because you're just like, oh my God. And that's called aura. Like that stuff. It's just like unexplainable things. You're like, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah.
And I've been around so many people like that. And I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah. And I just like, I recommend staying around those individuals.
Hopefully that was the energy that we gave all the listeners here today. But I think that's a wrap. I don't think we said our names. I'm Alisha.
I'm Jordan.
Thanks for listening in. And yeah, I'm just excited for more conversations with you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm sure this is not going to be the last one.
I know. I feel like we barely touched.
Honestly, we barely touched it, yeah. And it's not going to be the last one, but I will say, if you have any further questions, like her DMs, my DMs are open.
Totally.
Content's always going to be put out there. And this is just a chapter that we're currently crossing in. We can predict what's going to be the future, but we really don't know. And that's the more interesting part.
It'll be way bigger than what we predict anyways.
That's why you got to keep watching this movie.
All right.
Lovely.
Yeah?
You guys all good?
Yay! Okay, that was so much fun.